Man allegedly pays someone to cut off his legs for insurance fraud. Yeah. A Missouri man allegedly tried to commit insurance fraud by paying someone to cut off both of his legs and stage a tractor accident to cover it up. The Howell County Sheriff's Office recently investigated the most bizarre case in its history. In November of last year, a 60-year-old man from Willow Springs lost both his legs after allegedly suffering a brush hog accident. The brush hog is a rotary mower usually attached to tractors, and the man claimed to have both legs accidentally cut off by one. However, there are a few holes in the man's story. First of all, he had literally lost his legs, as in they were nowhere to be found, which was bizarre for this type of accident. Then there was the fact that the man's wounds were too clean to have been caused by a brush hog. And finally, the man was a known paraplegic, which raised questions about how he managed to find his way in the way of a tractor-operated brush hog. If it was done by a brush hog, it would have been a bloody, gory mess, Tori Thompson, a lieutenant with the Howell County Sheriff's Office, told the Springfield Newsreader. I've seen those types of accidents before. That wasn't like that. Officers and medical personnel called to the scene of the accident were very curious about the tourniquets on the stumps of his legs and who had put them on immediately after the accident. After the investigation continued and more holes appeared in the injured man's story, police discovered that a Florida man had visited the victim with a hatchet and allegedly chopped his legs off for free. No, for a fee. For free. It was later revealed that the 60-year-old paraplegic had devised a plan to commit insurance fraud, and since he didn't really have any use for his legs anymore, he decided to have them both chopped off in a staged accident. But since the man hadn't yet filed a claim with the insurance company, there was no reason to charge him. It was a poorly executed plan. I've never seen anything quite like it, Thompson said. Even though the paraplegic man could not be officially charged with insurance fraud, the sheriff's office was so annoyed with the waste of time and resources that it considered pressing charges or filing a false police EMS report. The problem was that the man's injuries were so severe that incarceration was virtually impossible, so they decided to let him recover in a hospital instead. As for the man's lost legs, a relative of his reportedly found them in a bucket concealed by tires and turned them over to investigators. I mean, he was already paraplegic, so I guess it just made sense for him to just let them go.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not using these things anyway.
Yeah. I
You
don't
know,
know how. Yeah, how is that insurance is the insurance going to be like, oh well, what's the point of us paying out if you couldn't use them in the first place?
yeah,
Right?
I do wonder about that. Like, would the insurance company had problem with that anyway? He's like, I'm going to be a leg model with my dead legs.
Yeah. He's actually lighter now. He can do more, probably.
He probably still wouldn't have got away with it because he would have had to have the tourniquet around his leg to survive. But
Yeah.
he could have just stuck his legs in the machinery,
Yeah,
he,
just go for it.
like made it look realistic,
I
But
mean, he
then,
could have had shorter stumps, but that's fine, or longer stumps. That would have been fine, yeah.
it's like he would have. I guess so. This guy, I guess, was paralyzed from the waist down. So he would have
Yeah,
still
they're
had a
still
bit.
confused.
He would have still had to
Yeah.
prove that he can use his arms, climb up on the machine, use the machine
Yeah.
with just his arms. I guess.
That was
So,
definitely one of their questions. How'd you even get out there?
right,
Yeah.
right, right. But I mean, hey, A for effort, I guess.
Yeah,
That's
good try, buddy.
a pretty extreme.
If he could have abortions, he would have gone with the Italian lady's plan, but, you know.
Also, what kind of guy do you have to be that, somebody can call you up and be like, "Hey, I'll pay you some money if you come and cut off my legs," and you're like,
Florida
"Okay,
man.
sounds like a
You gotta be
job."
a Florida man for that. He
like
just
I,
reached out to a random Floridian who was like, hey, you want to cut off my legs? Like, yeah, sure, okay. I'll be there.
yeah, I want to meet that guy. I want to see what that guy is all about.
They didn't talk about pressing charges against that guy. I guess, you could just cut off anybody's legs if they ask you to.
That's true. Is it a crime if somebody pays you to dismember them?
Right, yeah. I think
It's
I heard about, a German guy who, ate people. They they would agree to it or something. I don't know. Maybe it's a movie or something, but I feel like I've heard of that.
Oh, I think you're right. I think I vaguely remember a story like that. Yeah, where like, yeah, I think a guy was like paying people to be able to like, I don't know, like cut thing. I don't know if they were cutting things off of him or them, but yeah, you're right. There was. Vaguely remember. It might have even been on the podcast. There was a weird story about that.
Mm.